Road to Success is brought to you by Equity Bank.
Equity Bank. You are listening, caring partner.
You're watching Road to Success, the key to your next level in business. This week, our guest is Alan Nyongera of Portable Voices. Tell us about Portable Voices.
Yeah, so what inspired for me to start Portable Voices is myself, I'm partially impaired. That is partially blind, which means one of my eyes has got injuries while I got injured while playing football back in primary school. So since then, I've had difficulty reading, and so I can't concentrate much when I'm reading. So sometimes I had to read multiple times to understand one concept. But in 2016, I came across now one podcast from a company called Radiolab. So when I started listening to podcasts from Radiolab, I realized like I was able to understand much better. And so I started wondering like how would it be possible like to get more content. And so I started looking if I could get like local podcasts that were done on business, because mostly I was listening to podcasts on business.
Why business?
By that time I was teaching content development at a school in Kibera called Tunapanda. And so most of the time I had to look for new content to try and teach. So with the podcast, I realized, would it be possible like to get that kind of content that is local, so that I could be able to teach a local concept on startups and how to be able to run a business. And so I started like asking some of the students that I had who had come with the journalism background and asked them, would it be possible to create this kind of shows and be able to like distribute them to the community and see how people receive it. Yeah, so I reached out to one of the producers in the radio station called Pamoja FM, which was next to the school. So I started asking him like how sound works and how do you like produce a radio show? How does someone start and produce like audio content? And so he got curious why like this person who is teaching technology things is coming to ask me about radio shows. And so I told him the idea. I asked him, would it be possible to produce something like this that we can teach a local business concept or any other topic that would be able to help people get this kind of information? And so, yeah, he said we can look into that and see. Then I got two more students from the class I was teaching who had done journalism. And so we used to meet on a weekly basis on weekends to try and come up with some ideas. We did 2 shows on business, 4 episodes, and then now we saw like the acceptance. We didn't expect people to listen online, so we sort of like felt with the bandwidth or people having not like heard about the SoundCloud app that we were pushing the content through. But when we put the content online, and some students now started listening, and they said, yeah, this content is really good. We used to put most of our content on SoundCloud and some on iTunes. But from beginning, the start of August 2016, we realized like most people are not able to access the content, especially in the local informal settlement like Kibera where we were. Yeah. So we started looking for new ways of getting the content. We tried now looking, can we partner like with radio stations, local community radio stations? And so we approached like Pamoja FM and asked them, would podcast about like health, business, and then we gave them the pilot podcast that we had created. Would this kind of content be interesting to you? And they said yes. But again, now it was expensive because we had to pay for airtime. So from then now, we have been working on our own website. And then we are also currently working on a new app that will help people to access content offline.
Okay, so currently how are people accessing your content?
So currently we push our content through social media. That is Facebook and SoundCloud, and then we share the links via WhatsApp, and people can be able to listen.
What kind of subjects do you touch on?
Yeah, so for the audiobooks, we are basically covering variety of categories. We have started with the educational content, which is currently we are doing like storybooks that teaches about different subjects. So the current book, like for example, we have is a collection of stories done by students in Strathmore about literature and how people are living in Kenya right now.
You said Portable Voices is a business, it's an enterprise.
Yeah.
So how do you make money out of this?
Yeah, so we make money in 4 ways. That is through productions of the audiobooks. That is, now we charge an affordable fee to produce the audiobook. Then secondly, we also sell sponsorships for different podcasts that we do. So an organization could sponsor us to do a show on health, and also we also help like brands tell their own stories in the audio format through shows that we call branded podcasts. The third way we generate revenue is through sales of memberships to access premium content, because we have both free and long form premium content. So you can subscribe like for you to be able to get access to the premium content. Then the last part now that we mostly generate revenue is doing our own kind of show, which is shows and also selling the audiobooks. So if for the books that we produce, we sell them on our platform. So whenever like you buy, we get commissions on the books that we sell.
Okay. And who do you mainly target?
Mostly at the moment, we are targeting the busy professionals, that is the urban busy professionals. So for example, on your way to work, you could enjoy different kinds of African stories. Then our main target audience is the visually impaired and the blind. So that is on the consumer side. So on the production, we are targeting, we work with the authors interested in publishing their creative works in the audio format.
Since you've been in this business for a while, how long does it take?
It takes between 2 weeks and 1 month, depending on the volume of the work, and also based on different kinds of narrations that we need to do.
Alan, we must take a break, but when we come back, we'd like to know how your concept has been received, especially in the informal settlements. You're watching Road to Success, the key to your next level in business. Don't go away.
Equity Group defied challenging operating environment to grow profits after tax by 14% to 18.9 billion shillings compared to 16.6 billion shillings the previous year. Group CEO Dr. James Mwangi attributed the remarkable improvement to management's decisive actions, strategic direction, and differentiated business model.
Profit after tax increased from 16.6 billion to 18.9 or 19 billion, a growth of 14%. And for that reason, the management and the board recommend maintaining the dividend payout as the previous year.
The group weathered the effects of interest rates capping, with non-funded income continuing to be a key differentiator driven by forex income, remittances, commissions, trade finance, agency commission, Amex credit cards, and diaspora remittances.
More importantly for us in the banking industry is the reforms affecting interest capping. And the impression given is that interest capping will have been dealt with by September. That lifting will have significant implication on the banking industry, and hopefully we can go back to the days where the financial sector could make a significant contribution, and hopefully we'll go back to 20-25% growth rate in the private sector lending.
Dr. Mwangi said the bank is reaping the benefits of a strong social brand that focuses on enhancing its relationship with the community through a shared prosperity approach to business.
That we should focus more on shared prosperity, and we looked over business that would have impact in community. And we continue to do better. Almost 1.6 million Kenyans have now been trained on financial literacy. Almost 11,000 kids in our universities, 15,000 wings to fly, and 443 scholars out on our airlift program, all at a cost of $228 million, or 23 billion Kenya shillings.
The CEO illustrated how the prediction that the branch will cease to be a banking transactional channel has come to pass.
The bulk of the bank is on digital platforms. The customers are serving themselves on self-service platforms. Third parties have come in, and as we can see, the power of Equitel. We have always said Equitel is not a telecom. Equitel is infrastructure for banking services.
The group's strategy and differentiated business model saw total costs decline by 2% to 38.3 billion shillings from 39.1 billion shillings, reflecting the consolidation of efficiency gains of innovation and digitization of business. Profit before tax grew by 8% to 26.9 billion shillings, up from 24.9 billion shillings previously.
Differentiated leadership, the differentiated business model, and the differentiated strategy differentiated itself by growth of 14% on profit.
The group's business model continues to be validated by rating agencies and recognitions locally, regionally, and globally.
The market seems to have given our strategy a little big vote. The bank has now hit a market cap of 200 billion Kenya shillings, nearly 50 billion shillings, bigger than the second largest bank in the country.
Going forward, Dr. Mwangi expects the operating environment to improve.
We are starting 2018 very confident and very bullish that what held us back in 2017 is behind us.
Welcome back. You're watching Road to Success, the key to your next level in business. This week, our guest is Alan Nyongera of Portable Voices. By the way, why do you call your company Portable Voices?
Means like our voices without borders. So expressing yourself freely and also removing barriers to the access to the information. So we believe like in technology, which is why we mostly distribute our content online, which now inspired the name.
Alan, how has your business been received, especially by the youth in the informal settlements?
With the pilot podcast that we did, we received positive responses. For example, during the research we were doing with the content, one of the youth that we were training with used our content to be able to learn a few things about Kibera. And also, like, we have received feedback from people who are not from Kibera.
But before you started Portable Voices, you had another life. Tell us about that.
After my high school, I did not go to university straight away. So, yeah, because of the issue with the fee and other difficulties. So, mostly I used to do what we call like a street business. That is, I used to sell shoes around Dagoretti Market, which is where I've been raised. Then I moved on to start selling bags in Kawangware 56 with one of my friends. And yeah, so then fortunately, now the founders of Tunapanda Institute came to Dagoretti and they wanted to start training around computers. And so fortunately, I was among the group. So after their presentation, for me, I got curious because I was wondering, like, how can someone be able to give you for free education in this, like, in the hard time I was in, because I had tried, like, to apply for doing computer packages, but because of the finance, I could not go to any college.
Is that why you're also doing partly free services or offering your audiobooks?
Yeah, it's partly my inspiration because since primary school, I've learned through the goodwill, mostly goodwill of people. And also with the support that I got now in Tunapanda and with the information I got, that has been my inspiration. And so, like, if more people can be able to get similar opportunity and be able to have the know-how, there is no barrier to, like, success for everyone.
Alan, did you always know that you were going to do Portable Voices sometime in your future?
No, it was not something I was expecting to do in the future, because probably before I met the founders of Tunapanda, I was doing just things that could help me survive. So basically, the first move was to do things that could be able to help myself. Like I mentioned, like, I wanted more information, and I'm always always looking for more ways to learn. And it's the same mission that motivates me to wake up every morning, because the more we do, the more I consume. Yeah. Every content we do, I have to consume before it goes to any other person. And that's the actual, like, my role in the company right now is to act in the shoe of the person listening.
Alan, how did you raise capital to start your company?
When I was teaching at Tunapanda, I used to get a small stipend, and then went to getting salary. So I used to use part of that money, and then fortunate enough, now I got an NGO, and also another person who was able to support me and believed in my vision.
Alan, what challenges do you face?
Before you start, you really need to understand the idea or the business you want to go in, because there is no guarantee first, like, that it will be like a booming business and successful. Then the other challenge was on the access to capital, especially in our initial start.
How many people do you work with?
Currently, I have a team of 5 people. Two journalists who supports me with the content, and then I have another person who supports me in terms of the operation and the finance. Then we have, like, now advisors who comes in and give supports us and also mentors the team regarding to, like, management issues and also content wise. What
advice would you give any young person listening to you as far as business is concerned?
Look at the challenges that is a problem in the community, and start working on solving it, because essentially that's where business comes in.
Alan, where do you see Portable Voices in 5 years?
So in the next 5 years, as Portable Voices, we are really working hard to, one, see our content being used by as many people as possible, and especially in blind schools, where people will be able to use them to learn as much as possible. Yeah, so we are looking to expand our catalog of content that we produce to be able to provide as much entertainment and also educative content as possible.
Thank you so much, Alan, for your story. It is truly very inspiring.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching Road to Success, the key to your next level in business. Next, we speak to Vincent Ogutu, who will be talking to us about what social enterprise is. Don't go away. Welcome back. You're watching Road to Success, the key to your next level in business, where our goal is to see you succeed. This week, our expert is Vincent Ogutu, an entrepreneurship trainer and an author.
Thank you.
Vincent, earlier on we were talking to a young man who started his own business, but started his business without anything. And he calls himself a social entrepreneur. Please explain to us what's the difference between a social enterprise and a normal enterprise.
A social enterprise is a concept that is often confused. For us to actually understand what social enterprises are, we need to maybe refresh ourselves on what capitalism is and what is welfare, because social enterprise is in between. So in capitalism, the focus is profit maximization. So you start any business and you want to make the most money that you can make. When you compare that with welfare, where welfare provides services either for free, in quotes, or at very subsidized rates. I say for free because, not really for free because somebody else is paying. It's either the government or some other organization, either church or CSR, corporate social responsibility, by big corporates. So coming to social enterprise is actually a business.
Yeah.
And the main focus is not profit. The main focus is impact. It's actually to change the way the community operates or the way services are delivered to the community.
How do you sustain yourself if you're giving away things for free?
That's why the social enterprise model is a bit confusing.
Yeah.
Because the goal is it has to be sustainable.
Yeah.
First and foremost, it has to have a problem that is solving.
And for Alan, his is about portable voices. Would that be considered as a social enterprise?
It is a social enterprise. What he needs to concentrate on is how does he generate revenue to generate a surplus. Just a small profit on top of his costs to make the business sustainable. Now that is what differentiates a social enterprise from what the non-government organizations are doing and what the normal business does. First, there is a problem that they are solving. Second, it needs to have impact, and it needs to have a surplus, which is a small profit to make the business sustainable.
Okay.
Yeah. The problem, majority of the people confuse social enterprise is that they tend to associate it with donations.
Yeah.
And that is not sustainable.
And what does it take for a social enterprise to stand on its own?
One, it is a social enterprise is a business. Create an impact.
Yes.
Have some surplus that takes care of your costs so that it is sustainable. A good example is a water project in the community. Rather than charge the market rates, you factor in all your costs, including the number of employees that are engaged in the project, and you decide to charge just a small fee to take care of the expenses and a little surplus to just take care of any eventuality. Now that is a social enterprise that is sustainable.
How do you register a social enterprise?
In Kenya is the normal way, but out there is a clear separation between for-profit enterprise, a social enterprise, and a welfare. So in the case of Alan, initially he might decide to develop products that he can sell as a service to the corporates, because corporates, the large companies, have programs they call corporate social responsibility. Now that they are dealing with the audio for the blind, they might collaborate with the book publishers or large organizations that would like to impact or contribute to this segment of society. And through the funding, they try and have a ratio within the business where part of the business is done for money and this other one is done to help.
So you can have a very good idea that impacts society, but then you also need funding. That's where the collaboration comes.
Yeah, the collaboration initially. But once you get the funding,
don't depend on it.
Yeah, you need to start to work ways that you start generating your own resources. But the best model for business is to start with the resources that you have and start looking at ways of generating income from day one.
Okay. Vincent, thank you so much for that. I think there's a
you're
clearer
welcome.
understanding now
Yeah.
about social enterprise. Now you've written a book,
Oh, yes.
an excellent book about sacked, so what? We should not worry about being sacked. What inspired this?
What inspired this book is quite interesting. Is a lot of negativity that people attach to a person losing income. And people forget the skills that they have and the other opportunities that they can take advantage of. And it is just that mindset change, trying to find out how you can again be useful.
Yeah. And we want to give away 3 books.
Yes.
You've been generous enough to offer the books to give away. But there is a challenge that you want to offer our audience. What is the challenge?
The challenge is that a person has to give their story of what happened and how they changed their situation so that other Kenyans are also able to learn.
Vincent, where can we get this book?
We can get this book at Chania Bookshop and Strathmore University Bookshop.
As Vincent has said, we want to give away 3 books to the best stories of how you have overcome a challenge of losing income. And remember, you can write to us using the email on your screen. Thank you so much for watching Road to Success, the key to your next level in business. Do have a blessed week.
Road to Success is brought to you by Equity Bank.
Equity Bank. You are listening, caring partner.